Hi, it's Dr. Bob, and today we are at Arches National Park. Great opportunity for us to see the events of the flood and the events immediately after and at the end of the flood on display. Arches is really a truly amazing place because we see all of these arches which have been worn away in these sandstone fins that protrude out of the valley floor. Here in the Arches Park, we have a similar problem that we see at the Grand Canyon and other locations throughout the world, but predominantly here in the West, where there's a problem with missing material. All of this material here, the non-biblical geologists will tell you that this has been worn away over thousands or millions of years. The problem is there's a lot of missing material if that were the case. Where is all of this sandstone that has worn away to create, one, these fins, and two, the arches that occupy many of these fins? Where is all of this material? It's not in the valley floor, and it doesn't exist anywhere around here. Well, because of the biblical account, we know where it is. As the floodwaters began to retreat and the land masses were raised, what we have here is a demonstration of the fact that as those land masses began to move, that it would create fractures. This material, before it was completely solidified, fractured and created these long linear fractures in the sandstone. And then as the land continued to rise and the waters began to retreat off, of course the water then goes within these cracks, the path of least resistance, goes into these cracks and begins to wear away the material, creating these arches that we see, and creating the other formations that we see with the balancing rocks and things like that. Now, that's not to say that erosion does not play a continuing, ongoing part, but once again, that erosion that is occurring today testifies to the catastrophic processes that created these formations in the beginning. Because when we see an arch continue to erode, which it will, because the moisture then that comes in the winter, you can see all the snow behind me here, will soften that material that is kind of cementing these sandstone particles together to form this rock, and it will begin to flake off and to break as that water freezes and works against the rock. But all of that material, we see that here. So even large boulders, in 2008, one of the major arches here actually did collapse, and when it did, the material that's there almost immediately began to deteriorate. But we see it there still. So there's not enough material that's on the ground here to account for all of this erosion and these falls that would have happened if these were millions of years old. What we know is that they are thousands of years old, and the biblical account directly accounts for how this process was performed. So we see the sediments from the flood, and then we see the events after the flood with these fractures opening up, the waters rushing off as the land masses rise, wearing away these fins to create these passages through and the great arches that we see here, in addition to the balanced rocks, because not all these materials, of course, have the same density or have the same makeup or material. As we see elsewhere during the flood, sediments sort themselves, and then due to the mineral content of the fountains of the deep water, they begin to then cement themselves when they are under pressure. Actual experiments have been done on forming these sediment deposits and putting additional weight on top and then rushing water past them. And because of that additional weight, which would have been provided by the sediment layers that actually existed on top of the entrada, that then causes those, even prior to becoming lithified or turned into rock, creates a force that holds the particles together as these waters then begin to retreat, and then it can wear away in them in the softer parts of the sediments. So this is a great example of the effects of the flood itself, depositing these, and the events at the end of the flood with the land masses rising, the waters retreating, and eroding these amazing physical structures that we see today. So once again, we see that the Bible provides the explanation for the events that we witness in nature, demonstrating to us that it's okay to believe. So we'll continue to visit and to look around Arches Park today, but we invite you to continue to join us and to learn more about God's Word and the truthfulness of that account and the fact that it records a historic events that we can witness in the world around us. Again, this is Dr. Bob saying so long.